The following is a paid program. The content is provided by the advertiser. WSTU, its staff, management, and owners are not responsible for the content. Advisory services offered through Blackridge Asset Management, a registered investment advisor. Securities are offered through Peak Brokerage Services, LLC. Blackridge Asset Management is a separate and independent entity from Peak Brokerage Services, LLC. Member, FINRA, SIPC. And now, Today with Denny, here's Denny Artachi.
Good morning. You're Today with Denny. How you doing there, Mr. Producer?
You know, I'm doing great. I'm doing great. Beauty just left the studio, so it can't be any better than that.
I mean, this Katie Chrisman is something else.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
So I got her autograph.
Good.
So see that?
Put that up on your
It's
wall.
like she's a rock star.
There you go. Maybe she can come do like a duet with you when you perform.
I think so. She just has to hold the microphone. She doesn't even have to sing.
No.
And I think we can book. Ron, could you book that? Do you think you could book that?
Yeah, I can try for you. Sure.
We have a great guest, Ron Hart, in the studio today. He's Mr. Stewart Entertainment. I'm telling you. But he doesn't just cover Stewart. He has his hands in Vero Beach, a lot of different places, and I'm so happy to have him on the show. Did you say we had Tony on the phone? Okay, let's see what Tony's up to today. Tony, are you there?
Hey, Denny, how are you?
I'm good. It's a little bit chilly today, buddy. What do you think about that stuff?
Well, it feels good in the morning. I can't wait till Saturday. It's going to 80 degrees. That's my comfort level.
Oh, does that mean you're going to play golf?
That means I'm going to play golf.
Okay. Well, Tony's a partner of mine with TMI and Associates, and he does great work for individuals and businesses regarding their taxes. What's on your mind that you want to chat about today, Tony?
I just figured I'd call in, and I've got a little bit of time in the morning. Then I got the onslaught of all the corporate work to do today.
Your wife gave you some free time this morning? Really?
Yes, she did.
You don't have a honey-do list to do or anything like that?
No, the honey-do list comes in at like every 5 minutes. So I just do what I got to do.
Okay. Yeah, I think Tony tells me the secret to the marriage is just do whatever the hell his wife tells him to do and don't question anything.
The secret, Denny, is you can be right.
Yeah.
Or you can be happy. You can't be both.
Wow. These two guys are married too. Do you agree with that statement?
Happy wife, happy life. That's all I care about.
How about you, Ron? What do you think?
I've been married 3 times.
So have I. I'm right there with you. I'm on my third one. Third time's a charm.
Wow. So that's where I'm getting wrong because I'm not married. I'm like Groucho Marx. I couldn't marry anyone.
Are you on Tinder? Are you swiping left or right?
No, I'm not. I'm just saying I don't know if I could marry a woman who would have me as a husband. That's all.
All right.
It's just one of those self-realization things. So, Tony, you don't have any great tips for taxes? Like you're going to save people 80% on everything that they've ever purchased or anything like that? I mean, you know.
Well, yeah, you can save 80% on everything you ever purchase as long as you're a good negotiator.
Ooh, we had a negotiator in the White House. That didn't work out too well for him.
That's politics. This is reality.
Right. We don't discuss politics because Evan says if we discuss politics, he's going to quit as my producer. So we have a pretty good agreement there.
Yeah, one of the things that I saw this morning is that the House is trying to put together a package on the SALT deduction, which is the sales, and basically it's the sales and local taxes that are affecting people that have a large amount of deductions in real estate taxes, sales taxes, mainly in the states where the housing is very expensive, like California, New York, New Jersey. And what's happened is they've given those people that make a lot of money, it's basically about the top 2% to 5%ers, which, they pay a lot of taxes. And what they're trying to do, they gave them the deduction in the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of basically the 24,000, I believe it's 600 this year. And they've eliminated them deducting their sales and real estate taxes are the big one and local taxes. And what that did to some of these people, I mean, some of these people are paying, $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a year in taxes and interest deductions. So it really limited them on their gross adjusted gross incomes because of the Schedule A deduction that they're allowed to take. So they're trying to repeal that in the House in some way, which I don't know if they'll succeed, but that's an interesting area that's going on right now that some people that have incomes of, or I should say, have large amounts of real estate taxes and large deductions of interest on houses that they have huge jumbo mortgages on. That could be an advantage for them down the road. What it's going to do to the masses, I'm not sure yet. It just depends on how they handle it and whether they can overturn the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act, in some way. I like it. I like that Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. It makes it's simple for people, and they've given them, the average families, a large deduction that they don't have to itemize in their tax returns. And it put a lot of money back in people's pockets, the masses. But on the other hand, the people that make a lot of money, like you, Denny.
Yeah, well, let's talk about me. You're going to have to, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm self-employed. I get whacked. I pay double. It's almost like, geez, if you want to be a self-starter and work for yourself and be successful, we're going to have to hit you hard. So, Tony, don't forget me during tax time, or otherwise I'll talk about you on the air. Promise.
I never forget about any of my clients. I work very hard. I don't even call it work anymore, because as I do, you're like me. If you love what you do, it's just going through every day on your adventure and journey, and that's what it's about.
Well, there you go. And what's a good number that they can call you, either business-wise or individual?
I'll give you my direct line instead of the office.
Go ahead.
772-971-5852. If I don't answer, leave a message, because that means I'm either with a client or something's going on. And give me a call, and I'd be happy to look at your last 2 tax returns, look at your business to see how we can increase your gross income. And I have a lot of methods, and I've been very successful really over the last 30 years. TMI was created 20 years. This year will be 20 years that we've been in business in this area for tax. As far as business management and advisement, it's 30 years we've been doing it.
Well, certainly appreciate our relationship. We have a good partnership. We have mutual clients. We try and do the best thing by people, which that's something that should continue in this day and age. So, ladies and gentlemen, TMI and Associates, you can call Tony at 772-971-5852. And you're going to watch the Super Bowl this Sunday?
Absolutely.
Awesome. Any picks?
I think Kansas City's going to win it, but I am a Tampa Bay fan. When the Giants aren't in it, Tampa Bay would be my second team, and my third team, of course, would be the Miami Dolphins.
Awesome. Well, hey, hang in there, buddy. I'll talk to you. Maybe we'll get some golf going this weekend, because I'm not playing, so I am available. Hint, hint, hint. Tony Sama, ladies and gentlemen, thanks a lot for calling, buddy.
All right. Thank you, Denny. Have a great show. And
you
guys,
too.
Denny knows what he's doing. I can absolutely attest to that. We've done a lot together. He is a master at his craft, so give him a call.
Well, thank you, sir.
All right.
In the show today, we have a special guest, Ron Hart. And let me tell you, if you're in the Stewart area and you like entertainment and you go see bands, chances are Ron put the band there. So I don't know. Do we have a round of applause we can do with something we can? No? All right. Next time. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Ron Hart.
Hey, Denny. Hey, before you ask me any questions,
Yes.
And I just wanted to mention that we started out, you guys started out the show talking about physical beauty.
Yes.
And I seriously, I've been told a lot of times that I have a great face for radio.
Is that right?
Yeah.
So that's why you've been married 3 times, right?
Maybe, yes. The other thing is, talking about financial advice and all that kind of stuff. I know exactly what you would do if you won the lottery. If you won $1 million, I know what you would do. You want to know what I think you would do?
What do you think I would do?
I think you would keep playing music until the money ran out.
Which would be pretty soon at a musician's pay, ladies
Exactly.
and gentlemen. People think, oh, my God, that's like you're on vacation and you're making so much money. And they don't realize that a lot of bands are playing for $100 to $150 a head unless you're a tribute band. And that's just how it is. There's
They also think you're having a lot of fun. But I know, based on conversations that you and I have had, it's not always that much fun.
You mean like
Behind the
musicians
scenes.
right? The musicians who show up late, don't learn the music, and have had too many beverages before they hit the stage. Is that what you mean?
Some of those things, yeah,
Oh,
sure,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah, that does happen, and it's tough to have them in a business mind. Now, we talked about this the other day. It was so funny because I met you, Ron. I don't know, what was it, 3-4 years ago? So the first day I meet Ron, listen to this, Evan. I'm going up to Terra Firmata, and I go, "Hey, I'd like to talk to the owner." So he's looking at me like, "Uh-oh, here he is, Jehovah's Witness, giving me a Bible. What is it?" So I said, "Hi, sir. I have this great classic rock band. I'd like to play at your venue." So the first thing he says to me, he looks at me, he goes, "Dude, I don't want to hear Mustang Sally and Brown Eyed Girl. You got it?" So I started laughing. I think that's the only time that maybe Ron looked at me like I was a foreigner or something. Do you remember that day, Ron?
I remember it. You're being kind towards me right now because I think maybe the inflection in my voice was not as happy as you just made me sound. But
I don't think I could actually quote the words you said.
But I am happy that we have this great relationship now. And
Me too.
You are the consummate professional in the music business, that's for sure. I would assume that you carry that over into your professional life, into your other professional life. Oh, I just inferred that musicians are not professionals. Here I go again. I don't mean this to be the theme because most everybody is awesome in my
Yes, it's true. I mean, musicians, look, the pandemic has just crushed their way of life. And I feel so bad for them because some of you may know my story. I was in at Iron Butterfly. I was lead singer, lead guitar player. My best friend was Joe Shermy from Three Dog Night. And he was literally sleeping on my couch we were eating Jack in the Box cheeseburgers. So I said, you know what? If he's got platinum records and this is what he's doing, I'm going to do something else. I can always play music.
Sure.
So that's how I got into the finance. And my clients do get a kick out of seeing my shows. But let's talk about, you've done a lot in Stewart, and music is really doing well in Stewart in spite of the COVID thing, isn't it?
Yeah, well, Florida is doing well in spite of the COVID thing, in my opinion. And, people need to be normal, or they need to feel like there's some normalcy in their life.
Yeah.
And, music equals life. That's one of my mantras that I reiterate all the time whenever I can. So, if music is life and life needs to go on, then music carries on. That's what I say.
Yeah, being normal, again, is something that everyone's trying to do, no doubt about it. It's so funny, too, because I follow you on Facebook, and you're like, I can't keep up with you. You're in, like, Montana one day. You're somewhere else playing your stick guitar with the mountains in the background. You want to talk about that?
The Strumstick Sessions?
Yes, the Strumstick Sessions.
The Strumstick Sessions have changed my life, Denny. It gives me a purpose. When I sold Terra Firmata, of course, I own Earth Tones in downtown Stewart.
Yes, we'll talk about that
and,
as well.
That my son, I have the benefit of having my son be the boss of the thing. He checks in with me every now and then. But Earth Tones is sailing along, and I sold Terra Firmata. It's been over 3 years now. Time does fly. So you and I have actually known each other for something like 6 or 7 years, by the way. But, I was directionless for a little while and picked up a Strumstick, which nobody knows what it is unless you've seen my videos.
I have seen them. That's right.
And it has changed my life because now I actually plan vacations around where I'm going to go with my Strumstick.
And you have a bunch of followers in that, don't you?
I do. I get a lot of hits. Yes.
I mean, you don't even. He literally just starts strumming. He doesn't say much, but then you have something in the background. It looks pretty cool, man.
It's awesome.
You travel a lot doing that.
I do travel a lot. Yep.
Must be nice to be rich, huh? All right, we're going to take a brief pause here and come back with Mr. Ron Hart. All right, we are back in today with Denny. I think we have on the line Mr. David Mariacker. This is a pretty cool guest here. Dave, are you on the line?
Yes, I'm here, Denny.
Awesome. So Dave is one of my partners on the investment side where he manages a lot of assets. This guy, I mean, Dave, I try and tell people that's what you do and I do what I do. You watching the market 12, 14 hours a day, aren't you?
Yeah. I've often joked that for the last closing in on 30 years, I don't necessarily market what I've done.
Yeah.
And I basically just stay in a room studying mostly the U.S. markets, although I observe all of the overseas markets. But I do scour the markets for, buying common stock for the most part.
Paul Meeks was on the show a couple of weeks ago, and he's still kind of bullish, even though I think in one of your newsletters you feel the market's a little overvalued, like most people should feel. But he still thinks with the way rates are that we could get between 5 and 10% in equities. Do you kind of feel the same way going into the next 12 months?
Oftentimes I will, let's say, pontificate about it. Do I really have a strong feeling for the year?
Mm-hmm.
Several responses I would make. As January goes, so goes the year.
Mm-hmm.
That's one. The firm forces me to voice my opinion, and I don't remember verbatim what it said, but the paraphrasing what I said for the year was that we had a really good year. We've had several really good years, and that because from my view, my portfolio was up so much that I expect volatility. And generally speaking, the market did real well. I mean, you look at the NASDAQ, it was in the approximately a 40% gain.
Wow.
So my response was look for corrections, look for volatility, and not as good a year. That generally speaking, now that can change, but and I'm going to say right now that I still feel that same way. And that was basically at the end of the year, my voicing my opinion in regard to the new year. And we did have some volatility in January.
Yes, we did. I mean, look, but going back to March, April, I mean, the fact that the S&P, I think it wound up around 16%, right? Which the worst pandemic in over 100 years, and we recoup from it. I know that you typically buy individual equity positions, individual bond positions, whatever it is, because a lot of people, they don't know what someone like you really does. You're not just buying low cost mutual funds and putting a wrap fee on it. You're actually taking positions. You're actually writing options. I mean, just if someone comes to you and says, David, I need more than 3% on my money, but I don't want to go all into the market and get hurt if we have a 30% correction. What would you say to someone like that? And of course, we all use risk tolerance software. We don't just shoot from the hip. But tell me your philosophy, because right now, a lot of people still want their cake and eat it too. So what would you say to someone like that?
So I would say, and I go through this all the time, Denny, and you and I have talked about it.
Sure.
So, for example, if I meet with a new client, and the client, as you said, wants to be in the market, they're cautious, I basically take the same approach as I did almost 30 years ago. Whatever, like you say, the approach that you take through the process of trying to discern or understand someone's risk tolerance sometimes can be, an exercise that would be that person, when the market goes down, they call, and we're going back years going through this. But after a while, when they get through some of the downturns,
mm-hmm.
and then the market goes back up and they can live through it,
right?
And they had enough money and they felt good. My approach is basically the same. Let's just use a fictitious number of $100,000. So that person just, you have to keep their happy money, and it might be 20,000, it might be 40,000 of the portfolio. But the rest of the money, I build the portfolio out, yes, in individual securities. So I'll keep the position somewhere between 2 and 5%. Now, the majority of the time, you're dealing within that vicinity of probably 300,000 to 400,000 of somebody's liquid net worth. So using that number, you could end up having, say, 100,000 in secure, conservative portfolio in a portion of that portfolio conservative, and say maybe it's a third, but depending on that person's answers and their expectations and aspirations. The rest of the money, yeah, I do build a individual stock portfolio. The portfolios can be somewhere between 23 and 24 stocks upwards to about 45, depending on the type of portfolio somebody is looking to build out. Now, the other comment I would make is that it is a little bit understanding what you said about someone buying a mutual fund or in those portfolios are okay. It's just not what I do.
Right.
I go back to the time and tested philosophy of the stocks will move the market, and everything revolves around those stocks.
And you can control. Whole market. You can control.
So what I try to do is find the stocks that are maybe the new and upcoming companies that are really gaining traction and market share. But sometimes the older, and an example would be, you had mentioned in the spring, 2 companies that I've owned for quite a while, or not one company that I owned for quite a while was Etsy. So I aggressively bought that stock in the downturn in the spring. But I at the same time bought Starbucks, a more predictable stock, pays a dividend, profitable, that kind of thing. So that's the tale of 2 tapes that I love to bring together. And clients, when they have their portfolio and they see those kind of things happening, it's powerful because they know that, hey, we're buying a stock that we like for future growth, seems to be really catching on, but yet we're also buying a stock like a Starbucks, and the first being Etsy, and then this one being Starbucks paying a dividend, more of an older, say, more predictable S&P 500 company that's been around a while.
Right. You see, the thing about guys like David, you can hear it on the phone, he's so analytical. And, me as the advisor with a lot of clients, they kind of, they kind of want the short answer. They don't understand everything that you do to do what you do. I know that we can't just judge you on performance. I mean, you were up 78% last year, and I think 30% the year before. But folks, I'm talking to a guy on the phone that literally has had clients give him $10,000 in the 80s or so, that the portfolio is worth over $1 million. Is that not true, David? Don't you have clients that go back then that they stayed the course, they followed your disciplinary ways, and they've been rewarded generously over time? Is that not true?
Well, I think the second comment would be more true. The first would be 10 into $1 million, 10,000. No, that would be not exactly accurate. Although I think you're referencing, that's really, I think you're referencing clients that I met in the early
80s and 90s. That's right.
Yeah.
I remember we've had these discussions over some cocktails, or maybe let's just say that you have an excellent track record of, managing money over the long haul and teaching the discipline for investors. Because look, they want 20% returns, no fees and no risk, right? Where do I sign up for it? And I go, I'm sorry, that's not what I do. That's not what David does. But what we can do is we can manage it to your expectations within reason. And that's really where it's at. And I think most people, it's not so much how much you've made them, but how much you haven't lost them over the long haul. They kind of remember that. At least it's been my experience. I could never do what you do. You watch the market. I'm sure you have an opinion on GameStop and all that stuff. But really, what is a number, Dave, where they can call you, or actually they can just contact me because you're one of my partners that does the money management. What do you think would be best for them to call in to at least?
They either number, they can call you and we can set up appointments. They can call me. My number here is 716-308-5401 would be my cell number. But either one is fine. And yeah, I think if you haven't been exposed to, building a stock portfolio, if someone is thinking about it, it's not like something you have to jump in with everything that you have.
Sure.
If someone has a portfolio of mutual funds and ETFs and they say, okay, well, let's do it with, a portion, you start that way. And so you ease into it and the client feels much more comfortable. But as they see what happens and they see that, okay, maybe I'm beyond the mutual fund or the ETF, I want to start to, get into an individual stock position. You can do it slow and let the client kind of guide you on how fast to move.
I mean, there's a few things we'll have to look at. They're talking about doing legislation to break up the monopoly, one cup of coffee, folks, not two, of these big tech companies. And if they do that, I know Senator Klobuchar is proposing something that could change the goalpost for some of them. So any parting shots that you want to talk about in the market, or what should we be looking for in the market?
I did a show about 2 years ago, and I researched all 5 companies, Facebook, Google, Amazon, and I went over their balance sheets.
Okay.
It was Apple. The balance sheets was very little debt and billions in cash, hundreds of billions in cash. I haven't looked recently.
Okay.
But my comment would be that they have become so powerful and maybe akin to back at AT&T back in the late 70s. I think that AT&T was broken into maybe 17 companies, Baby Bells. That was, I think, in the early 80s. My investing career doesn't go back that far, but ExxonMobil was Standard Oil in New Jersey, and they broke that company into I don't remember what year that was, but that's what it reminds me of. But even more powerful,
right?
These companies today. So now I would say, in full and fair disclosure, a lot of the stocks that I own, for my clients, I own myself, and some of the people in the firm actually allow me to invest their money. So, in full and fair disclosure, we watch these very closely, but we also own them as well. And I would also say, Denny, that in the case of these companies that you're referencing, I wouldn't be afraid of a breakup. That wouldn't scare me, and I wouldn't sell a company. I wouldn't necessarily buy it, but I would be more likely to buy the company.
Yeah.
Pardon?
Maybe more of a hold instead of a buy.
No, I would say that if look at Facebook because of this or that, and they're talking about, I would be more inclined to buy the stock based on a possible breakup than allowing the stock to continue onward. Because once you see this consistently over time, big corporations will either spin off, they'll break into different parts. I've seen it happen many times. ConocoPhillips, Kraft Foods, and usually it unlocks value. So I wouldn't be afraid of that.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you can reach David at 716-308-5401. That's 716-308-5401. Hey, Dave, always great talking with you, man. Stay warm, because I know that we're complaining about 50-degree weather, and I'm sure Buffalo has their own warm breeze going on right now, right?
Not really. No, we're like you said, we're trying to stay warm here. And yeah, looking forward to getting together with everybody. And thank you for listening. And thank you, Denny, for having me on.
Dave Marika, ladies and gentlemen, for Independent Solutions. Thanks so much. Mr. Spraza had called, but I think we're going to miss him, because I do want to continue the conversation with Mr. Ron Hart, who joined us today here. Ron, again, does a lot of music, and he does the stick strumming with his thing. And we're talking about maybe doing a July 4th show at the Rock Riverwalk, aren't we, Ron?
We are. It's Sunday this year.
It'll be Sunday.
I wanted to say something, by the way. This is a very serious and poignant radio show we're having. And I was in the market for a short time yesterday, by the way.
Oh, you were?
Yes, I went into Publix and got some sushi to go. Actually, I am invested in the stock market.
I know you are.
But you guys are really cerebral with this stuff.
I know.
That's why I have a broker. Financial advisors and planners are important
when you get someone like David on the show, or even Paul Meeks, they're very cerebral. Absolutely. And what happens is, I have to bridge that relationship with clients because
nobody wants to talk that deep, right?
right.
How much money can you make me, Denny?
Right. You know, I want to know what time it is. I don't care how the watch is made. Yeah. That's
Right.
great. What are you going to make me? What are you going to charge me? That's where I come in. But it's no different when someone has a legal issue and I refer them to an attorney, or someone with a Medicare health issue, and I have the partners, but I try and bridge that gap because absolutely they'll be like, you've given me a lot to think about. So guess what? That's exactly what I'm going to do.
Sure.
I'm going to think about it.
Right.
I'm going to run it by my father, brother, sister, cousin, uncle, producer. Right, Evan? Evan's out of the market. He's allergic to it. He doesn't do it anymore. But you know what it is? I never know how the show's going to go. Last show, we were tearing it up and laughing hysterically.
Are you telling me my jokes aren't that funny?
No,
Is that what
you're
saying?
good. But we had a couple of serious guys on the phone between Tony and David. And I promise you, clients, you'll speak only for a couple minutes with them. I'll tell you what the deal is.
Right. You're the interpreter.
Yes.
So July 4th.
July
and
4th,
Denny
we're playing a big
Artachi is
show.
right out in the lobby here. You were booked for a date there on July 4th at
I
Rock
kinda
and
like
Riverwalk.
that. Right.
So Rock and Riverwalk is a free concert event that happens on the Riverwalk stage in downtown Stuart every single Sunday throughout the year. It take out the little portion of time called COVID.
Yeah.
But we're back, by the way, and we're real happy to be back. Like you said, July 4th is a Sunday this year. So I'm trying to conjure up a special edition of Rock and Riverwalk. And I wanted to just say for a second here that, and make sure that the listening audience is aware that Rock and Riverwalk is made possible entirely by donations and sponsorships. And I noticed a little earlier that one of your sponsors, a radio spot that you had, was for Mulligan's Beach House Bar and Grill.
George.
George is a great guy. I want to tell you right now, and I want the world to know, without George Hart, there would not be a Rock and Riverwalk. Without Mulligan's staunch support for years, there wouldn't be a show. So having said that, it's a good segue to saying I'm looking for some underwriting for July 4th so I can afford to put you on the stage.
Sponsorship.
Yeah, it's all about sponsorships. By the way, we have garnered big, huge donations since coming back. We've been back for,
really? Okay.
We started in January, the first Sunday in January. And I am humbled and grateful about how much dollar bills and $5 bills and $10 bills are going into the tip jar at the event. So I wanted to, in case anybody is a fan of Rock and Riverwalk, wanted to thank them very much for their support, everybody in downtown Stuart.
We're going to take a brief pause here and come back with Ron Hart. I'm going to call it the Ron Hart Show today. So Mike said the thing is, David, oh my God. First Tony was a little bit long, and then David was a little long. They don't understand that people still want to get entertained, not put to sleep. Yeah, see if he is a yes. You can even. Okay, we are back. I think we have Mike Sparazza on the line. Mike, are you there?
I am here.
Hey, Mike. So what's the good word for today for the financial guys Auto and Home Insurance Agency. What's going on today?
So not too much. Same as always. That's what I always say up here in Buffalo too. Same thing, different week. So working with a lot of different people, shopping things around, finding some savings. I actually was working on a boat policy down there for somebody in Hutchinson Island yesterday, and ended up giving them more coverage again. Little adding a few little things like medical payments and liability, and saving about $400 on a $2,700 boat policy. So that's a good little story with something that, people don't always think about their boats and their jet skis and whatnot, but there is savings and things like that too.
Hey, anytime anyone can save money and improve their coverage, that's really what matters in my mind. And look, we're probably going to get more clients because thanks to Cuomo and de Blasio, people leaving New York, they're coming to Florida in droves. I know it. I see them driving. So say the number again where they can get a quote from you, Mike.
And let me just say that one thing too, Denny, being in New York, I've had at least one client a week leave to go down to Florida or somewhere else since about early December. So we're now over 8 weeks, and I've had clients, they're not leaving us. We're still working with them in Florida, but they're leaving the state of New York. And that's, if I have that going on, imagine what other people in the area, other financial people and insurance people, they're leaving like crazy. So
yeah, something about overpaying in taxes, having idiots running things. What else? Oh, and the blizzard weather. We can't forget the blizzard weather, right? That makes people come down to Florida. But what is a good number they can call to get a quote from you, Mike?
Yes, it's 1-855 TFG Auto, like the financial guys auto. That's 1-855 834 and then 2886.
So I know you're going to watch the Super Bowl. My Giants and your Bills will be watching from the audience, but hey, there's always next year, right?
That's right. Always another year. That's the beauty of it.
Listen, what is it now? I'm just always curious. What's the temperature right now as we're speaking?
I can't give you the exact. I can tell you on my way in, it was 22 this morning. So
22 degrees. That's awesome.
Wow. Another heat wave, and we got a nice lake effect storm coming in this weekend. So looking forward to that.
Well, stay warm, brother. I'm going to battle this torrentious 60-degree weather that we're having in Florida right now. Wearing a jacket, wearing a hat. Mike Sparrazza, ladies and gentlemen, the financial guys, home and auto. Always a pleasure, sir. We'll talk next week.
You got it.
Yeah, that whole weather thing and the taxes and what they're doing, I don't know. Where are you from originally, Ron?
I'm a giant Steeler fan.
Well, that doesn't tell me where you're from. I mean,
I'm from Pittsburgh.
You are from Pittsburgh. Okay. So what's going on with Big Ben and the Steelers? Are they going to bring them back, you think?
Well, here's what I know. When the Steelers lose in the playoffs, I stop watching football.
These guys are so it's like a New England fan, right? You've made the playoffs, the championships, you got all those rings, and it doesn't mean anything if they didn't do it this year.
Exactly.
That's where they're at.
It's true. We have high expectations being from Pittsburgh, all of us Pittsburghers.
Okay. Well, I guess as Giants fans will hold on for a little bit more. I know that we talked about the July show, but you also you book in the Walking Tree in Vero, and we also back to Mulligan's. George is such an interesting character. This guy, what is he? I think he's about 59, and his girlfriend is like 34. Did you know that that's how he rolls?
I think she's younger than 34.
Younger than 34?
Yeah. Yes. But he's a family man. He takes care of that girl and her kid, and he's proud of it too. I've talked to him a couple times lately.
So he says,
like, George, what's going on with you, brother?
Exactly. Evan's the same way. Evan is, how old is Evan? What's the age difference between you and your wife?
16, 17 years.
16, 17 years.
Yeah, she was 21 and I was 37 when we met. Raising 3 kids on my own.
Nice.
And now I have 4.
Okay. George says he's real nice to her. That's how he got his girl. Is that how you got yours?
It's his raw good looks, I think.
Well, here's the thing. Here I am, a single guy raising 3 kids on my own, and she's 21. I'm like, what the heck does she want with me with 3 kids? I got a rare breed. So now she goes and becomes a bonus mom like that.
I could make comments, but this is a family show, so
Sorry.
we got to.
We're PG.
Yeah, we're PG, right? No, actually, we're G. We can't even put the PG. And you, Ron, you are married.
This is a struggle for me being PG. All right, I'm usually working in the R zone. All right,
I know that's right. So you've been married
or G.
How long now? Because I thought for some reason you weren't married.
No, I'm not married.
You're not married.
No, but
so I am right.
You are right. I am not married.
But
I'm with my my ex-wife, and I have figured out how to tolerate each other.
You see this? They get divorced and now they're back together.
See, he doesn't have that suntan thing going on right here, like a lot of.
Well,
guys
I actually do wear a ring. It keeps the rest
okay.
of the population off my back.
You think about it. You have some money. You own a bar. You think girls come up to you and say hi? What do you think?
If you're the owner of the bar,
right?
Yeah, you're going to have girls swarming all over around you. You know why? Because they want that free drink.
They want that.
They want that free beverage. That's all they care about.
Really? They'll do all that for a drink?
I used to be in the bar business
Is
for
that
many
true?
years.
Ron?
It has merit. You know.
It's got
they're looking at me. They're like, "Hey, that guy has a good face for radio, but he owns a bar."
Yeah, it's got its perks.
I know Eric is working it out at Terra Firmata. He loves to say that he's the owner now, and I think he just gets a kick out of it. Terra Firmata is quite a venue. There's no other place like it. It's outdoors. Did you design all those chairs and the outdoor bring my dog and family vibe that you have there?
Well, I mean, by complete and utter accident, yes. I designed it.
Okay.
There wasn't a grand plan going in. It evolved and took on its own life, and then I was able to nurture it and form it into what it is.
I mean, think about it. You could literally bring a picnic of food and go watch a show there, right?
Can't beat that.
You can't beat that, right? Of course, once COVID hit, it affected many people, but Terra's doing very well still.
Good.
They're still doing their thing.
It's like my baby is now a teenager.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're going to open up another venue somewhere?
No way.
It's true. You couldn't give me a club to run. You could do all the things right and be dead. And then one night, your staff doesn't even show up and you're packed. It's
a lot of drama.
Yeah.
And lots of drama, isn't that?
It was the best of times. It was the worst of times.
Maybe the saving grace for Terra is you don't serve liquor there, just beer and wine. So.
Well, that could be a factor. It saves you an insurance policy.
I think after you do your fourth, highball, it's a lot different than your fourth beer. I mean, there's probably some people out there who disagree with me. But speaking from personal experience, if I have 4 double bourbons versus 4 beers, I would say the outcome is going to be
slightly
tremendously different.
Yeah. The shows end at 10 o'clock at Terra Firmata, and pretty much anything bad happens after 10 o'clock.
After 10 o'clock.
It's like Vegas. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
It kind of is like that, right? It might be like that at Terra, but, George is doing music too at Mulligan's. I mean, I love what he did.
Guess who's booking the music there?
Yeah, you. That's right. That's right. So we can talk about that. So what rooms are you booking? You booking?
I have a list because I thought you might ask me, and I can't read. I have CRS really bad.
If any of you out of work musicians are listening, Ron's the guy. I want you to call him and pound his phone.
Starting from north and heading south, Earth Tones presents books Walking Tree Brewery, Pierce Cider Works in Fort Pierce, Walking Trees in Vero, Conky Joe's in Jensen Beach, Taco Tiki in Jensen Beach. I just picked up Wednesday nights at the Dolphin Bar. So I'm doing Wednesday nights at the Dolphin Bar, only Wednesdays. I'm hoping that that's going to parlay into some more stuff there. Of course, Rock and River Walk. I've been doing that for about 9 years now. Mulligan's Beach House in downtown Stewart, Ocean Republic in Stewart, Ocean Republic Brewery, awesome venue, by the way, and Blue Point Bar and Grill in Tequesta lets me do some shows down there.
So you're booking Blue Point now too?
I book some
mostly
shows,
singles and duos there.
No,
right?
mostly the bands.
Really?
They do their own deal with the solos and duos. I've been putting some bigger shows there.
So, Ron, you mentioned 4 rooms that you have not booked me on. Do you want to talk about that now? Or,
am I detecting a little?
Let's see.
Oh.
Well,
time to negotiate.
You're not a solo guy, are you?
No, I don't. I don't like doing solos. I really don't.
So that takes 2 off the list.
That takes 2. Okay.
Yeah.
But a little trio. Now we're going to book in July 4th the Santana tribute, which. It's going to debut at Terra Firmata on February 19th. Any Santana fans out there, it's going to be a fabulous show because we're legitimate. I have a separate conga, timbale player, drums, keyboards. Even hired someone else to do the singing, Ron.
Nice.
just so I can just noodle around like
Wow.
Carlos.
Listen,
But-
I just wanted to make a clarification.
Yes.
We're going to do the July 4th Santana tribute
Yes.
if we can find some generous
If
donations.
we can get some, right. Maybe one of our listeners could use a tax write-off. What do you think? You wanna
Anything's
support
We are a
Santana?
C5, a 501c3 or 6. And I don't understand the difference. I mean, I have been told the difference, but it's above my pay grade to understand what people are telling me. But we are a 3 and a 6,
Okay.
and that has a difference in how you want to
Okay.
apply your donation and the
Okay, well,
tax
there you have
benefits from it. You can ask a financial planner. Do you know any? Do you know any financial people that you
I
could?
might know one or two that can manage your money or steer you in the right direction.
Good
That or
deal.
you could just Google it. What's the
I
difference
could-
between? That's what everybody does.
That would be too easy. They
I know,
hire
right?
me to give them all the answers.
There you go.
I'm like the surrogate spouse or something. But I like what I do. I mean, I also like playing music. I like to entertain. I like to educate. I like to help people. And I'm glad that Stewart area is having a lot of cool music. I think Vero's a pretty cool music town too. Have you ever, I know that we used to play at the Grind and Grape, but I think they stopped that and went to a single. Have you ever talked to them about?
I have not.
Okay.
I actually have gotten all this through attrition. I sold Terra Firmata.
Mhm.
I bought a strum stick. I started traveling around, and I was getting calls about, hey, can you help me do this? Hey, do you know this guy? Can you call this? I need to put a band. Or I need a soloist. And next thing, I was hiking up a mountain in Sedona on a Vortex, and I'm thinking, well, I'm doing this and booking bands for my friends, so why don't I just come back to Stewart every now and then and start doing this? So it really had no intention, but I'm happy to be doing it because it's my passion. I like
Sure.
it's fun when you can engage your passion.
Maybe your strum stick is how you got back with your lady. You ever think about that? She
Uh,
might have seen a video and I got to have that again. You ever think?
The man speaks big but carries a small stick.
Man, I don't know if I would admit to that, even if it were true. But hey, there's hope for you out there. So if you have a small strumming stick, you can still get a fine, beautiful. And your lady, I've met her. She is a beautiful looking
Thank
lady.
you very much.
So, Ron, it could be the strum stick. I don't know. I mean, you knew her before you had all these venues, right? You were together for how many years?
She bought the strum stick for me in Telluride, Colorado, by the way.
Well, there you go. See, I knew I was on to something.
By the way, you can buy your own strum stick at Earth Tones in downtown Stewart.
That's a very cool store you have. It's like
Thank
a
you.
cross between old school hippie and modern day. I mean, you have all kinds of cool clothing, musical instruments. What was the concept behind that store?
Trying to entertain the people here.
Right.
But, my background is landscaping. In the first 2/3 of my life, I was
Yeah.
a landscape contractor, design build firm. Earth Tone started out as a high-end garden art boutique. The very first incarnation of Earth Tones
Yeah.
was like a garden center without fertilizer and pesticides or plants. It was the garden art aspect. So it morphed into more closely resembling what my brain is like. Which
Right,
is,
but you got more contemporary because you sell ripped jeans for like $80 there, right? Isn't that the style now? and
Yeah,
stuff?
get ripped at Earth
Get
Tones.
ripped. No, yeah, I'm saying that's the style. These people pay high end money for ripped clothing.
I
You
wear
ever
them. I
You
wore
wore
ripped jeans. I
You
still,
do?
yeah, to this day, I wear ripped skinny jeans. 60, almost 61, and I wear ripped skinny jeans.
See, you see how he keeps his lady. He wears skinny, ripped
Yep,
jeans,
that's it.
ladies and
It's
gentlemen.
a style.
Mm.
Take a scissor, boom, and you're good to go.
What about you? Do you have a small strum stick that you play with?
No, we won't talk about that on the
Okay.
air.
All right. Right. This is we're just keeping music, folks. I don't know. But anyway, I definitely appreciate our relationship, and I hope we can bring.
Me too, Denny.
I hope that we can just bring back music and get back to normal, like you say. It's really tough. I mean, I love playing the venues though that you book me, and they're my favorite because they really appreciate good music. And I try, when I try and play, I try not to be the greatest musician, but what I do try and do is entertain the people where they can have fun and be engaged.
You are an engager, that's for sure.
I try and be, yes.
If I'm pitching you to a private event or to
Mhm.
one of the venues, I'm like, the guy works the crowd.
But the problem is once you're past 40, which that was a long time ago, they kind of want the youngins in there. But they don't understand that 25-year-olds don't spend like the 60-year-old will. And that's what they have to understand when it comes to business.
You're talking about demographic. You're talking about alcohol. You're talking about,
in general, I mean, is a 25-year-old going to spend $100 at a venue? Probably not. But the older person will. And, I kind of cater to that crowd more than I'm too old to cater to a 25-year-old unless they've already had their fourth cocktail. Then I look pretty good and I sound amazing. You see, just bring 4 cocktails. Anyway, Ron, I'd like you to come back, man. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you, Denny. It was a pleasure.
Let's do some more music together. And everyone out there, as always, thanks for tuning in today with Denny. Be happy, be positive, make it a great day, and I will see you next week. Thank you, Evan.
The preceding was a paid program. The content is provided by the advertiser. WSTU, its staff, management, and owners are not responsible for the content. Advisory services offered through Blackridge Asset Management, a registered investment advisor. Securities are offered through Peak Brokerage Services, LLC. Blackridge Asset Management is a separate and independent entity from Peak Brokerage Services, LLC. Member, FINRA, SIPC.